But we wanted to start with the Brentford Arsenal game because it was, as I said, the only one on News Day here in the UK to finish that game week in the Premier League. And for Arsenal to go away to the most informed team at home with Liverpool, which was Brentford, going into that game was never going to be easy. How did you assess that game?
It's a good question. I think for the way the game started, Arsenal were getting into their rhythm. They were moving the ball well. But then, like, anyone who's watched Brentford knows that, like, they've got the ability to hit you on the break.
Yeah.
They have that. And the best home record, joint best home record in the league, is not something that many of us anticipated we'd be saying about Brentford. But you could see it because all of a sudden it's 1-0. And, you know, there was that moment as well for David Raya where the ball went through his hands. And in fairness, he reacted well to go and deal with it. But you wonder, like, how is this game going to look? Because it's not going to feature Brentford having tons of possession.
No.
But in Vissa and Bermo, like, they've got so many players who can actually go and take it to you.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I suppose looking as the game is done, it ends up feeling like a comfortable game for Arsenal, which is credit to them because it didn't look perfect, but the substance is there. And I feel like Arsenal, for me, they're very much a substance team at this moment in time. Whereas, say, Liverpool have got the substance and the style.
Yeah, I agree.
For Arsenal, they have the ability to go around and just win games. And do you know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me a bit of like a Jose Mourinho Chelsea. Like
I see what you mean.
From when, not necessarily in terms of, say, flair or whatever, but if they're winning, they've won.
Yeah.
That's the feeling that I have right now. But the way they get that isn't necessarily something that terrifies you, but they just find ways. You know, that's credit to a good team.
Yeah, and the way they responded to that goal, that Mbeumo goal after 13 minutes, where they had all of the ball and then one counter. And clearly, I think Brentford were trying to isolate Mbeumo against Calafiori, who hadn't played for a little bit, was injured. And he does him on that goal coming inside, which I think we all could see coming, maybe.
Do you know what hurt me a little bit on that goal? Because as it was happening, so as I watch the game, and it's probably the same for you, I don't just look at the ball. I've got to look around everywhere to kind of see what's going on. And I thought Gabriel could have come out sooner.
I agree.
Gabriel spent some time looking to see something else going on. And all of a sudden, it's like, is Calafiori really 1v1 on the corner of the box like this without support when he could have done it?
Yeah, definitely.
When it comes out too late. And obviously, the goal's the goal, but it's a valid point.
But it's the way they responded after that to go a goal down over there. Where I know they only played, you know, they will have City and Liverpool coming in January at the GTEX, the GTEX time. So far they've had a great home record because they've also haven't played yet the top teams really. But the way Arsenal responded, how good they were in controlling the game. I think there's only one whistle shot in the second half for Brentford, and that's it. When Brentford were chasing the game, trying to get back into the game, and Arsenal didn't give them anything. I thought Partey was great. I thought defensively, outside of the goal, they were really, really solid. And then where I loved your point is that they were so efficient and clinical in what they've been doing well. So the flow is not there because there's no Saka. Odegaard doesn't look like the same. Havertz was ill. There was a bit of a bug within the camp. So they were not maybe 100%. But I thought they responded and did their job really, really well by controlling everything. And I thought that was impressive.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And, you know, not every game is going to be your best game, but still you can get the result itself. Yeah. And I think as well as I looked at Arsenal, just look big and physical, you know.
Yeah, they are.
Like, just brutes. So there were times when, for example, Mbeumo was thinking, I'm going to go and try and find a way to do this now, but Calafiori was there. And then next thing, like, Gabriel was there. Ball goes up to Wissa. And you've got Partey in the midfield who's right next to him alongside, you know, a Saliba. Like, they're a big, strong side. Yeah. And I think as I look at teams trying to play against that, I don't know what the best formula is to be able to, you know, sort of put them under pressure as such. Because as well, to give them credit, to give Arteta credit, they're very well drilled. They understand what they're supposed to do. They understand that within any game of football, it's not always going to be the nicest football, but it has to be a winning style of football. Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like right now, they are the second best team in the league. They're very much deserving of being there. But just because for Liverpool, I think Liverpool have those traits in terms of being big and physical, but I feel like in attack, they're a bit more fluid. I think for Arsenal, they obviously get chances from set pieces, and they create a little bit, but probably not as much as, say, you'd like to see.
Definitely.
You know, because if there's a day where you come up against a side that are very good from set pieces as well, defensively, then what do you have next? I think this is where the Saka thing comes in.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I think we're probably going to talk about Nwaneri as well.
Yeah.
Because that's somebody who could potentially be breaking down a few
potentially. So you think they are the second best team in the country right now?
That's how it feels to me, yeah.
They are 2 points clear of Forest, who are Arsenal are second, 6 points behind Liverpool, who have a game in hand, away at Everton. Then Arsenal, 2 points clear of Forest in third, and 4 of Chelsea in fourth.
Yes.
can only Arsenal really try to compete with Liverpool? I mean, I think we both agree that there's a possibility where Liverpool win this title with 15 points clear by April.
It's a real possibility, yeah.
But if there's one team that can maybe try to catch up and bridge that gap, it would be Arsenal?
Yeah, I think so. I think from looking at them, obviously Saka being out is a big blow.
Yeah, massive.
It's a big, big blow. But they've got enough players available who can, find ways to win games of football. I don't think they need to be at their absolute best to win games.
Yeah.
Obviously, they fell out of form a little bit not too long ago, which is why the gap to Liverpool is potentially as big as it is. But say this run that Liverpool are on now, if Liverpool played Arsenal next week, it's not guaranteed Liverpool would win, because I think that shows credit to Arsenal for finding ways to be able to do things. If that wasn't the case, then I'd say it's just Liverpool and it's clear. I think Arsenal good enough to win, say, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. It might not suit your eye. It may make you upset that maybe some of the goals come from set pieces. But which other team can do that? I think we've seen some of the flaws within Chelsea in the last couple of weeks, the flaws which Maresca, in fairness, was discussing.
Yeah, that's why I didn't think they were.
Exactly.
Candidates.
And then as you look at Forest, you'd very much make the case that they're overperforming.
Yeah,
very much make that case.
I think we can say.
And they're acutely aware of that. And they may be 1 or 2 injuries away from an implosion. Whereas I think as I look at Arsenal, you're bringing Rice off the bench, bringing Trossard off the bench. You've got other players to come back in as well. Ben White's come back in the next few weeks as well. So I think they're the second best. If Liverpool do slip off, I think Arsenal can catch them.
Yeah.
But I think from when Liverpool get back on the horse, I'd be very surprised.
No, and I think you're making a good point. It's 12 unbeaten now for Arsenal. 9 wins in those 12.
But does it feel like it?
It feels like it simply because you're right. The style is not there. The substance is there, which maybe between the two, I would always go for the substance more than the style. Right? If you can have both like Liverpool and Klopp, great. Yeah. Treat yourself. Yeah. But if you pick one of the two, I would go for the substance. And even if sometimes it means grinding out results, you do it. This is start of January. They've played a lot of games. There's another one this weekend before the FA Cup break. They will have the League Cup semi-final the following week against Newcastle, first leg. So all of that is happening. So to go to Brentford and get those 3 points in that way, I think it was massive. Yeah. So we talked about the goals and how the goals come and everything. Gabriel Jesus has been pretty good, to be fair, since he came back into the team. I think this is 6 goals now in his last 4 in the competition. He scored 3 in 3 in the league. There was the one in the League Cup against Palace. Personally, I'm glad to see him. I just want people to be. I want people to be happy. Anyway, and I think he was very unhappy for a long time, not playing much, and when he was playing, just things not happening for him. I'm glad to see him playing that way. At Brentford on Wednesday, I thought he was very good all around. He scored a goal that is a proper number 9 goal in the sense that on the rebound, etc. But I thought he held the ball up well. He was just what Arteta wants him to be. Is he good enough for Arsenal now at this level to take them further and compete with Liverpool, him and Havertz?
What's this level he's in to like win a league title?
Like being important enough and decisive enough between now and the end of the season to help this team win something or go as high as they can. Or you still feel like they're short of something?
I personally don't feel like they're short.
Me neither.
Because we've seen them go on long runs where, say, they win a ton of games. You've seen them, I think it was 2 seasons ago when they got to 50 points at the 19-game mark. Which is something Liverpool, who have been good this year, can't do, by the way. Yeah. So I think he's good enough. And to be honest, I liked him when he was at City as well. I think he wasn't necessarily starting every game because of one Sergio Aguero, but I thought his impact was very much there. Don't think himself and others, if you would have taken him out of that City squad back then, I don't think they win the league titles in the way that they do. But I don't know, it's an interesting one because we're always getting this position now. Well, in fact, it feels like every year around this exact time, there's somebody in the media that says, but they need a number 9.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so what does that mean? Because say, for example, at the moment, like he's out of form. So like an Erling Haaland is a number 9. And now they're also making the critique that he's out of form and he doesn't offer anything else to the team apart from goals. Yeah. So which one do you want? Which argument point do you want? So I think he's good enough. I think he's experienced enough. I think he can be what they need to be. And I think the key point here of what you said is the fact that he's in form. Yeah. Gabriel Jesus in form can help Arsenal in a million different ways. Whether it's scoring a goal like you said yesterday, which was like a really good 9s finish because he's following in on the shot. Yeah. Even to know to head it straight away, that's really sharp. Some of his link plays there, his work rate's there.
Definitely.
So what more do you want from him? I think at times people just want to see someone score 30 goals, whatever, score 40 goals, but sometimes that's not what you need. I think if he can help his team out, I think there's a reason why Arteta plays him. But now the balance is like, who does he play instead of.
Yeah.
You know, will he be able to play centrally, or does he want Havertz? You know, does he want to put him out wide? Because if you've put Gabriel Jesus out wide, the impact is different. It'll work hard.
Definitely.
We missed the goal, so I'm not sure. What do you think?
So I think Havertz was ill
Yeah.
on Wednesday, so could not be there. I think there are games where Arteta is thinking I can have a front four almost of, let's say, Trossard, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, and Havertz, who comes from midfield, where initially he was signed for. He was signed to be the Granit Xhaka replacement, and they thought they can mold him into this kind of 8-10 second striker kind of player. Didn't really work out. Did much better as a 9, albeit a different 9 to Erling Haaland or Oli Watkins or Isak or whatever. So you can play them both together, or you play Havertz and Gabriel Jesus can become, now that he's back in form, an impact sub that can be, I think, very interesting for you. That maybe, apart from Trossard, who will still come from wide areas you didn't really have before in your squad. So you're 1-0 down at Brighton, or it's 1-1 with 15 or 20 minutes to go on Saturday at the weekend, and Gabriel Jesus is on your bench. You know that you can bring him on, and he will have the confidence and the belief that he can impact the game over 20-25 minutes, which you didn't really have before. So I like that. I think he's a good player. I think he's a confidence player, like a lot of them. Obviously, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I think it is. And with that kind of form and that momentum, I would find it difficult to take him out of the team too.
Yeah, what do you think about this? So when it comes down to, say, the second half of the season, everyone's revising their picks and so on and saying, like, this guy, they need a number 9 or whatever. When they say they need a number 9, what do they mean? Do they mean they need someone to score like 15 goals between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, I think the narrative felt very much like they create a lot of chances, which they don't so much this season. And I think the XG that they have and the goals they've scored are pretty much equal. So it's not like they have all those chances and nobody's there to take them. Bring a proper finisher, a number 9, and then he will finish those chances, because it's not that simple.
I remember last year, it was around this time, they lost away at Fulham. And then they went away to Dubai. And there was the video of Arteta being fed steak by Salt Bay, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And I thought this would be like great content for the rest of the season. But then they went on a run where they basically went unbeaten for like 2-3 months. And in that time, people were talking about them needing a 9. There was talk of Ivan Toney, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I was always thinking, you probably need your better players to be more efficient with their finishing, which they're capable of doing.
Yeah, definitely.
And they found that. And in the second half of the season, Havertz starts scoring more, Saka's scoring again. You know, all these other players are doing what they're doing. And I think Gabriel Jesus, as an efficient finisher, alongside others within that team, I don't think they need more. I think they just need to just be good at the right time. As I look back at last season as well, I think one of the big reasons Man City won the league is because of that weekend where Liverpool lost at home.
Yeah.
And Arsenal lost at home to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
That one weekend went from where City beat, I think, City beat Luton on the Saturday and they were top. But if Arsenal and Liverpool would have won that weekend, City would have been in third. And if all the 3 teams won out, which they all did,
you
know, City would have been third.
Yeah.
In this moment, I think it's just a case of efficiency, managing those big games, understanding like they've got the cups coming up and all this stuff. They've got Champions League, which they're all pushing for as well. And I'd rather have players who are experienced who can do that, as opposed to somebody who goes within the team and might be a slightly more efficient finisher, but offers less to the team.
I agree.
So
and
I'm a fan of
discussed
Jesus.
it a lot last year. I think what Arteta wants, and we might agree or disagree with what Arteta wants as a number 9, he's number 9 to do, but I think he wants a number 9 that just is a big part of what he does collectively within that team.
You need it.
Not just in the box.
100%.
And I think for that, okay, you might fancy, I don't know, Isak, for example, who I think can do everything because he's that good, which would cost you 100 million, which I don't think Arsenal can afford right now anyway. So you also use Havertz and Gabriel Jesus in the best way possible, like they're doing now, and just hope that's enough. But if they could have the front 6 that Liverpool have, and all the different options between Jota and Darwin and Diaz and Gakpo and Salah, then he would take it. But right now, he doesn't have that.
I think if you're somebody, in my opinion, that says that Arsenal don't have a squad good enough to win the league, I'd be like, well, you're missing the point, because they've got a squad good enough to be able to beat every team in this league.
Yeah, and Arteta said something interesting yesterday. He said it's also all about sharing the goals for us.
Yeah.
Which I think they've done in the last 2 seasons, where they went close and pushed City pretty much all the way. And I think if you can get one striker that scored you 40 goals and then have a couple of guys with 5, great, that's 50.
Yeah.
But you could also have 4 of them who share 12 goals each, and 100%. You get to 52.
I think people, and maybe it's a UK thing, or maybe, to be fair, maybe it's world football, but people are obsessed about number 9 scoring 30 goals and thinking
Yeah,
there's going to
they
be
love
success
that.
from it. But then as I think of that, in my time, I remember Harry Kane, the Spurs who weren't winning league titles.
Yeah.
And I also remember the fact that in all the years that he played in England, I think Sergio Aguero was top scorer in the league once.
Yeah.
And they used to score 100 goals a season. So clearly there's
Yeah,
something
I
about
agree.
sharing it out.
You mentioned Ethan Nwaneri already a little bit. 17-year-old, he would turn 18 in March. His first Premier League start of the season on that right-hand side where Saka usually plays. Martinelli played there against Ipswich, didn't really work out. He moved him back to the left and he was far more efficient. I think when you have your bearings and your habits in one position, I think it's hard maybe to just move away. And we said that after the Ipswich game too. Nwaneri looks a baller. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
Technically,
solid,
the
yeah.
left foot is clearly very, very good technically. I'm not sure this is his best position. Wide on the right like this.
How about if it was off the right as opposed to out wide, to say somebody that
Yeah.
would drift inside?
So like the Odegaard position for me is where Ethan would be at his best.
Yeah.
And yesterday you saw it a couple of times where he was there on the right, but played it backwards again because he could take people one-on-one, but I think his game is more in small spaces, would make a difference like that. But has Arteta found for you the right formula to replace Saka? Or do you expect Ethan Nwaneri not to start against Brighton on Saturday?
Ooh, really good question. I think firstly I would say young players starting lots of games back to back is always a bit of a risk anyway. So knowing the right time to put them in, the right time to take them out, because their careers don't start and end now. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
You can try and drip feed them in as such. But I think they've got experience on that side, and it's not Saka. It will never be Saka, whoever's going to be there, whether you put Jesus out there, you put Trossard, whether you put Martinelli again. But I think it's a nice option to have. And I think it's a nice option to have in a game whereby you're going to have tons of possession.
Yeah.
And he can be higher and move in and around whenever he needs to be. I think if it's more of like a sort of aggressive end-to-end game as such, and they don't have as much control, maybe I'd put someone in there that's probably more experienced.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, in the games like yesterday, Brentford are obviously good, but they're better on the counter. So you will have tons of times to be in their half, to settle in and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So, like for Ethan, we look back at his game yesterday, and even though he did some good defensive actions, you remember all his attacking things.
Yeah.
There are plenty of games where you need to do the other side as well.
True.
As a priority. So I don't think he's necessarily the answer. I think it's a nice look to have. Because his quality, like when he was being spoken about at the start of the season, I was having to speak about him and stuff, but I didn't really know the backstory. I didn't know he was basically 17 years old because he looks like he's about 25.
Yeah, he is.
But that's an incredibly talented teenager. Like tactically, he looks like he understands what needs to be done. Some of the link-up play and his desire to have an impact, like top. Like to have that at 17, top. Jules, he's a baller.
It is.
So I think it's an option for Arteta. And in fairness, Arteta likes to use those options. So I wouldn't expect him to start the next game, but he's definitely like not going to be shy of putting him into the team, I don't think.
So for example, let's say Stupinan plays at left back, who is a very attacking left back for Brighton. You would want somebody who would cover defensively more because he's done it before, like let's say Gabriel Jesus for the sake of it.
Yeah. Not necessarily. I think at times with football, like the lesser teams, and these are some of the teams that I've played for, you spend more time worrying about what to do defensively than what you do in attack.
Yeah.
And then you end up being in a position where you don't know how to break a team down because you're focusing too much on the other side of things. And there are teams, for example, like Liverpool, where how often do you see Salah defended? It's not very often.
No, that's true.
But you need the structure behind it. So if, say, Partey, for example, has to play right back, then maybe you play Rice on that side as well to sort of overcompensate from that part.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But then the right side might have its issues as well. But I think I just want somebody who would understand tactically what Brighton tried to do because it is a bit different to the norm. So that's why I'd probably lean towards somebody that's more experienced. It's not to say that it'll definitely stop them, but I'll have a different understanding of it. But then in the same breath, like if you think you're going to have 60% possession, possibly more, Nwaneri is a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
No
I agree.
brainer.
And I think there were some Arsenal fans who were a little bit disappointed that when Odegaard was out for those 2.5 months, that Nwaneri didn't get the chance to replace him in that team and get a bit more game time than what he did. But maybe Arteta didn't feel he was ready for that kind of, also the pressure. Look, he's coming and replacing the captain and the playmaker of this team, which is a lot to take. I'm not saying that replacing Bukayo Saka is okay and there's no pressure, because I think there was pressure. But yesterday, I never thought he would start him in a game like this.
Yeah.
Where the best team at home in the league.
Yeah.
Very physical team. Although, if you think about it, it's a game where I think Arteta knew he would get 65% of the ball. That against Ranieri was Lewis Potter, who is I love him. I think he's a lovely, lovely young player. But he's his size, and it's not like if he had, I don't know, like let's say Collins playing, and then the battle would have turned very physical. It was not like that. So maybe Arteta saying, you know what, this is the right time to start him, give him the opportunity. He said he deserved the chance, which I think he did, and then see how he does. And you could always have brought on a Trossard or changed something at some point in the game. But the fact that he kept Ranieri on for so long, I think showed how happy he was with his performance. And you're right, at 17, okay, almost 18, but still at 17, it's really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. For
Brentford, just quickly to finish, we said they will have tougher games at home now. City and Liverpool are coming very soon. This was what we expected from them. It was just not enough.
Brentford are a really strange team. So they've got the best home record, but they have either the worst or joint worst away record, don't they?
Only 2 draws away from home.
Yeah, and you can kind of see it because, say, in the game against Arsenal, they're defensive, and then it's just like full speed, high energy, try and go and break and so on. But I think at times, perhaps they do overcommit with that, and they can get caught the other way. And I think as they're going to be playing against, you say, Liverpool and City in the coming weeks.
Yeah, in 2 weeks or something.
The game against City is like doable for them because City aren't in the best moment.
Yeah.
You know, they're not in the best form, and City will try and control the game there, but they don't necessarily have the speed nor size to be able to deal with the players like Arsenal did yesterday. But that suits them. You know, these games against Arsenal, against Liverpool, against City, like they're not expected to win. You know, they can have even less of the ball than say they used to, and they're kind of like, okay, this is fine, but they know that they can have a moment because I think a lot of people, not to speak for everyone, but when Mbeumo scored yesterday, I was thinking, are they going to win this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
but
you're like, are they going to do it? Is this a thing? Because they didn't need to change how they played once they took the lead. If they're behind, it's a different story. And I think you saw more so in the second half when they had slightly more of the ball. Like, what could they create with it?
You said one shot. That's it.
One shot. So I think Brentford they're a good Premier League side. I don't think they're a great one. I think this home record is like insane, but then it's come at the cost of the away record as well. Absolutely. It's almost like they're 2 different teams. So I think in the end, City and Liverpool will probably beat them, and City and Liverpool probably have to suffer for little bits. When it comes down to quality, like they should find ways to beat Brentford whether it's at home or away.
Right, enough Brentford and Arsenal. What about some quickies, Ned?
Yeah, let's go, my friend. Let's go.
Manchester United lost their 4th game in a row Monday night, Neds. They are 14th now in the table, and Ruben Amorim saying that relegation is a possibility.
Did you say 4 in a row?
4 in a row.
That's interesting.
And they've got Liverpool at the weekend.
Yeah, that's not very nice. But although, to be fair, this is a good moment to possibly have a reaction going to your biggest rivals away from home.
That's true.
This is where it all begins, or maybe not. I think that game against Newcastle, especially the first half, was as bad as I've seen in a long time. It was
terrible, that first half.
Bad as I've seen. Obviously, second half they were a bit better, but some of that's because Newcastle needed to play a different game.
Yeah, and just control.
So if I was a United fan, I'd be a bit concerned because for some of the players that they've got available, you'd still be expecting more.
Yeah,
and maybe again, this is the case of the value of Bruno Fernandes because for as much as they've not been great, every time he seems to not play, they look even worse.
Yes, that's very true.
And he says relegation possibility. I thought, nah, there's no way. But they're 2 points ahead of Palace, who've had a historically bad start for them.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll move on. Jules, we talked about Dani Olmo on Monday's show, and we thought we'd be registering that now. What's going on?
Yeah, in Barcelona, we're very optimistic. And to be fair, the Dani Olmo camp as well, his agent, everyone was. We thought there was, like as I mentioned in the last show, they had sold the VIP tickets and the way you sell them and everything, commercialize them to a few Middle East companies to raise 100 million euros. But even that was not enough. And La Liga said, this is not good enough. So right now it can't be registered. There's also a bit of a tricky one where apparently you can't get 2 licenses for the same club in the same season. So basically, if you can't register somebody from the start of the season to the end, you can't register him again halfway through the season.
Okay.
And for Dani Olmo, who says he wants to stay, that means that in his contract, it says he can be a free agent and still being paid by Barcelona for the remaining of his contract, although being still a free agent and go anywhere he wants.
Okay.
So this is really a headache that, I'm sorry, Barcelona, we saw coming. This is the way things are. Liverpool have rejected an approach from Real Madrid for the transfer of Trent Alexander-Arnold. That's right. Nez, that means he will be staying now, because Liverpool don't want to let him go now. But does this mean he will leave now, pretty much for sure in the summer?
Can we just have a moment, just from a pure footballing standpoint? I know lots of people hate Real Madrid, but if we can accept the size of them, Imagine someone saying Real Madrid are coming for you. Like, how nice a feeling that must be.
You can't.
Yeah, let's be honest. As I say, whether you like them or not, that's quite a big moment for you. And I think for Liverpool to say no, firstly, that's a big shout to Alexander-Arnold. And secondly, like, I think Alexander-Arnold probably wants to stay and win a league. You know, they're still with a chance of winning the Champions League.
Yeah.
There's the League Cup, there's the FA Cup. And if he can still end up leaving and going there anyway, you know, that's a big, big thing for him. So he's probably going to be off in the summer. If they come in, like, it's tough to say no to.
You see, I don't think Real Madrid come now for him if he hasn't said yes already.
So do you think he's going to try and go now?
So I think he said, like, I'm joining you regardless. So it's either you come in now, and if you can find an agreement with Liverpool, I'm coming now, but I want to join you. And if it's not now, you'll be in the summer. And that's why, for me, the good news is that he will stay and they would keep him at the club anyway. So they will be ready to miss out on, let's say, 20 million euros and let him go as a free agent in the summer and get no money for it. Because definitely that means for me that the bad news is that he's leaving in the summer.
Do you know, that's a good point as well, actually, because financially, like, why would you not take money for somebody who'd go for free? And also, let's not get in that awkward position in the summer where they're all in America for that Club World Cup.
Yeah.
And you start off the tournament for Liverpool and then you head across to Real Madrid.
So Liverpool are not in it. So at least you'll have that.
Whew.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I see your point, which is still valid.
That's a relief.
It's a relief.
So Sergio Conceição is the new Milan manager, Jules, as you were telling us on Monday.
We said it was probably going to be him. It was confirmed not long after we finished the show. So I just wanted to, because there's something really, really, I think, fascinating for me in this. He's taking over Paulo Fonseca. Didn't really work out. They're 8th in the table. But they are in the Italian Super Cup semi-final on Friday night. And this will be the first game as a Milan coach for Sergio Conceição. And they play against Juventus. And who plays for Juventus? His own son, Francisco Conceição. So for his first game as a Milan manager, he will face his own son in, like, the battle of the Conceiçãos, which I find amazing. So, hey, just for that, we like the appointment. Nathan, Pep Guardiola revealed by mistake this week that Erling Haaland had become a dad. So congratulations first to the Haaland family, of course. And do we forget Pep for, like, kind of... I'm sure Erling and his girlfriend had a way of they wanted to announce it to the world.
Yeah, it's not quite the big reveal as such, is it, that you're looking for? But, you know, at least for me, I'll try and spin it, you know, with my blue hat on and say it's positive that the manager knows that somebody's had a child.
Yeah.
And, you know, they care about them. Yeah,
exactly. That's the love. He showed the love.
Yeah, he showed the love, but I prefer to show it, like, after other people have shown it who are more important with that baby's life, like maybe the father or the mother. But, you know, we all make mistakes.
Exactly.
We all make mistakes, but not everyone makes a mistake in front of a camera. That's
very true.
So, Jules, we know you are not the biggest fan, but are you happy for Gareth Southgate becoming a Sir?
Okay, I'm a bit conflicted here because, as you know,
just be positive.
As you know, it was not my cup of tea, and I would never reward somebody who's lost 2 finals with a knighthood and calling.
Doesn't matter who they're losing the 2 finals for.
It doesn't matter
Are
so
you sure?
much. It doesn't matter so much, right? You see?
Yeah.
Like Sir Alex Ferguson was knighted after winning the treble. Literally after winning the treble, he got Sir Alex Ferguson. I understand that. Gareth Southgate, I like you as a person. I think you did a lot of really good...
Single shots, Gareth.
Single shot to you, Gareth, or Sir Gareth now, or whatever, when. And you did a lot of really good things for England and for the fans and everything. But I was a bit like, what, really? Really? 2 defeats, 2 finals, 2 defeats? You know,
what I would
one
say,
at home against one at Wembley.
What I would say is, for all those people that look at Jules and he said, you know, not my cup of tea. Jules actually drinks tea, so he literally is not his cup of tea. I'll hold my hands up. But
I'm happy for him.
I think anyone that receives honours, like,
have you received one?
No, not yet. I think. Do you know how it works?
No.
Someone needs to nominate you. So
I'll nominate you. Who do I call?
I don't know. I've not had to think about this myself, but feel free to nominate me. And if it's going to be services to ESPN, I'm more than happy for that.
Yeah, that's good. Chelsea suffered a second Premier League defeat in a row, Nate, on Monday away at Ipswich. Well, we hadn't seen that one coming, did we?
No, we didn't. But on the show on Monday, we were talking about how this is a good test for them.
Yeah.
Because it's playing against a team who are desperate for points. And so you can have all the nice football, but you need the substance. You need to be able to travel around and get results. It not always look the best. And in fairness, like, Chelsea weren't that bad in the game, but to leave without a win, especially against a team in the bottom 3, this is Maresca. This is what Maresca was saying. Like, none of us wanted to believe when he said, "We're not ready."
It's true.
You know
but
what I mean?
you still expect them, even if you don't want them to be contenders. This is a game
but
they
it's
should-
the details. It's the details,
true,
you know. And that, I think he's somebody who's seen that, you know, having worked as like an assistant to Guardiola.
Yeah.
He understands the importance of those details. Having been somebody who is, you know, essentially like a student of the game, watching so many clubs, trying to be involved in player development. Like I think he knows. Like, don't get me wrong, they could still, in theory, win the title from here, but the young players are looking like young players all of a sudden.
True.
And that's the downside to the upside of the young players looking like they're free spirits to be able to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, so Jonathan David has been talking about his future, Jules.
Yeah, he did an interview in the local newspaper in Lille, which he rarely gives in interviews. And he said that there is an extension on table. He's out of contract in the summer. And I think for us, there was the belief that he would run out his contract and then go as a free agent somewhere in the summer, like a much bigger club that he deserves to go to, whether it's in England or in Italy, anywhere. But he said that everything is still possible, that he can sign the extension, 2-year extension on the table, and maybe either stay a little bit or make sure that the club gets some money back, which I like from him. He's got 17 goals already this season in competitions. He's been great for them. And he's 25 years old. I like a lot of his game, and I think now he seems to be finally ready for a big move.
So do you think the best thing to do is to move and not sign an extension?
I mean, this is what a lot of players would do. Let's run down the contract. You know, we talked about Trent earlier. And then be a free agent and go anywhere you want instead of having somebody paying for you. Maybe he just wants to stay another year and then go after that. Maybe he doesn't feel ready himself. But I would find him strange to sign a new deal now, considering he will get a big move. He's a free agent.
Do you think he's Premier League ready?
I think he is now, yeah. Last season I was not so sure. This season is really, really improved.
Okay.
More bad news for West Ham, Neds, as they've lost Jared Bowen to a broken foot.
Yeah, and not just, you know, that's their captain as well for this indifferent season that they've had. I think he's possibly their top scorer. I think for the style of play that he has, he can definitely like bail them out of situations because, you know, Lopetegui's felt enough pressure as it is anyway. I think a lot of West Ham fans, they'll be sad to see him be out. Do you know how long he's going to be out for?
I don't know. It's a broken foot, so it should be at least 6 weeks, I would think, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, that is a huge shame. But then I suppose we can talk about positive as well. Mikel Antonio back from hospital.
Yeah, good for him. We wish him all the best
after his car crash. But personally, so Man City play West Ham this weekend.
Yes.
I'm quite happy Jared Bowen's out.
Oh my God,
he's good, man. He's good. So I wish him all the best after this weekend. How about that? Is that me being honest?
That's okay. Yeah. I like when you're honest.
Okay, so I never thought I'd say this, Jules, but Adil Rami's clashed with CR7. First comments on Liga, huh?
Remember what Cristiano said, that the Saudi League was better than Liga and that there was only PSG and Liga. Well, Adil Rami didn't like the comments at all and came after Cristiano by saying, you know what, if Cristiano was playing in Liga right now, we would eat him alive. Not that Adil Rami still plays. But
that's what I say.
Yeah, he would be eaten alive in Liga. Basically saying that for the last 2 years, Cristiano hasn't been as good as he used to before. I'm not sure if he would not be good in Liga, Cristiano. But Adil Rami was really passionate about this, saying like, you know, he hasn't watched Liga. Lille are doing great. Marseille, Monaco, we see that in the Champions League for some of them. Even Brest, he said like, even if Cristiano goes to Brest, he's not doing well there. So I was like, oh, well, okay, chill out. Maybe.
Why do you think he's been so aggressive here?
I don't know, man. He took it really personal when he's not playing in the league anymore. If he was somebody still playing in Ligue 1, to feel a bit offended by what Cristiano said, it could. But for Adil Rami to say like, just not sure, man.
Do you think Cristiano responds or not?
Let's see.
I think as far as like a war of words goes, I wouldn't necessarily want to have one online with Cristiano Ronaldo. True. He's got one or two supporters.
That's very true. Although Adil Rami can say he won the World Cup, which Cristiano hasn't. So, you know, I mean, that could end all the debate.
Okay, my boy. Okay.
Mateus Cunha has been banned for 2 matches, Neds, after his antics. Remember against at the end of the Ipswich game.
What was he did again? He ripped the glasses off
the security guy from
face.
Ipswich. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, we've all been in a position where we've been frustrated, but most of us tend not to go towards other people and do those sorts of things. And it's a big blow for Wolves. Very, very big blow because he's their informed player.
He's their
guy. Probably their player of the season, and to be out for 2 games now. Something so self-inflicted as well. Like you didn't have to do it.
I know.
You could make the case that like, is he lucky that it's just 2? Like, what does 2 mean? You know, you tend to see 1s or 3s. But I can't even say he's going to learn from it because he's probably never going to do that again. He's never thought about it anyway. It's a wild thing to do, and it shows the frustration that once existed there. Whereas now, you know, it's all good vibes. Everybody's celebrating all this.
The Spurs, definitely.
But yeah, to have somebody missing like that, especially as the new manager's coming in, I mean, it's far from ideal.
Yeah, others will have to step up, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Jules, what is Teji Savanier controversy?
So as you know, he plays for Montpellier, and I completely forgot. I won't lie, I forgot to put in quick hits in the last show, or even the one before. But Montpellier were playing before the winter break in the French Cup against the 4th division club. They lost heavily as well at Le Puy, and he took a corner at some point. And one of the fans who were really close to the pitch, as you know, in the lower league pitch, said to him, he must hurt to be bottom of the table in Ligue 1. And Savanier turned around before taking the corner and said, not really when you earn 200k a month.
Those ones, okay.
No, this is not good. So if you were a Montpellier fan, or even worse, a Montpellier Ultra, and your captain and your best player is going like, I don't care, I earn 200k a month, so bottom of the table or not. So he had to apologize, and Montpellier is his club. Like he's himself a Montpellier fan. All his family is. So for him to say that, I was so disappointed. So they're obviously starting. The French league starts again this weekend, like a lot of other leagues. So I think Teji has a lot of work to do to have himself forgiven by the Montpellier fans.
That's tough.
It's
trying
tough,
to flex
man.
like
I'm not
that.
sure how you come back from that.
Yeah, I don't think you do,
exactly.
to be honest.
Also on Monday night, Nez, Aston Villa considered late equaliser against Brighton and stand 9th in the table.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Yeah, because I think the week before we saw them play against Man City on prime time and like dominate them, seeing them do well in the Champions League. But then as you keep looking at the table, they're not really progressing up it.
No, at all, man.
They kind of seem to like stall out a little bit. And to concede a late goal again, that's not great, especially against the Brighton side that's also like not really in the best of form. I think they're trapped in this weird position to where the season's kind of good.
Yeah.
But it's also like a bit weird as well.
It is. And the Champions League, I think it's saved the season so far.
Yeah,
really,
exactly. But, you know, this Champions League campaign, we can't deny them that because it's their first one, was in like 30, 40 years, however long it's been.
40 years, yeah.
So, I don't know. They're a very good side. But unfortunately, they're feeling the difficulty in being consistently up there in the Premier League at this moment. It seems like quite a few teams are as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So Stefan Bogmart is the new Union Berlin manager.
Yeah, we mentioned the other day, and there's that they parted company with Bo Svensson, the former coach who was at Mainz before, who I don't think did everything so bad, to be fair, for Union. But it was not good enough. They were 12th in the table. I think the club would be disappointed at 12th in the table, not to have done a little bit better for them. So he's coming in. He did a decent job at Cologne when they finished 7th in the table. So we'll have to see how it is. The League Cup semi-finals next week will make history, as for the first time the referees will publicly say what the VR decisions are, Nate.
Yeah, good luck with that. So I think one thing I've realised, this is what people say that they want, but not many people agree with referees anyway. So now them telling you a decision that you completely disagree with, it's going to be a first.
It'll be interesting.
But good luck. So Hugo Sotil has passed away at the age of 75.
Yeah, sad news for the former Peruvian international. Really, really good player. Played for Barcelona between 73 and 76 in the Cruyff era, and was a big part of the team in 1974, winning the title after 14 years without winning La Liga. So I think in a way he made history for Barcelona, and he was 75 years old. So obviously all our thought are with his family. Nez, we saw one of the craziest red card of the season on New Year's Day between Burnley and Stoke in the Championship.
Yeah, so Hannibal, it's an interesting one to stamp on someone.
I mean,
you know, first most people wouldn't do that. I think when you're coming on off the bench as well, clearly like you're not in the manager's sort of like favour anyway. But to go and like stamp on someone, I think it was Junior Chamadou, I think it was in the 87th minute.
Yeah, the right back.
I don't know, man. Like, this is a wild decision.
Really
That's 3 games off. And again, I don't know the context of them throughout the season, but if you're not starting week in, week out, then maybe the manager is a bit unsure about certain elements of you.
That's
and when you do that, especially when
you.
No, and you're up near the top of the league, like, you're pushing to get into the Premier League.
Yeah.
The manager needs everybody on board to be as good as they can be. I think he's had somewhat of a nightmare there. Would you agree?
Yeah, in Paris, born and bred, Hannibal.
Oh, so what does that mean now?
I'm just saying, still a genius, but is that hot temper from Paris?
Oh, it's the passion.
Yeah, Parisian passion.
The Parisian passion.
Exactly.
Yeah,
thank you very
of
much.
course.
You said it perfectly.
Absolute nonsense. And so we had our first official deal of the January transfer window, Jules, and it's Gift Orban to Hoffenheim.
Yeah, one of the best names in world football, obviously, Gift Orban from Lyon. Just never really worked out for him. They bought him last year for Ghent for 14 million euros. a year on, they sell him on for 12. It's a good deal, I think, for everyone. For him, he needs to play. Offenheim will play. It's a good deal for Lyon, really, to recoup all that money there. He's only 22 years old, and he had an incredible impact, if you remember, when he started at Ghent. But since then, he's been a bit more hit and miss. So let's hope for him that he can have a good go in the Bundesliga. Will suit him as well in his game.
Do you think this is going to be a big January transfer window?
I think there is a lot of teams that need to sell.
Okay.
So I think on that side, I think it is sell first and then buy. So I think we could be in for an interesting month. Yeah.
Okay.
It felt inevitable, Neds, but after one win in his last 13 games, Wayne Rooney has finally been sacked by Plymouth.
Was it not a mutual consent? Was it that you are laughing? This one is not mutual. That was you laughing.
It's very much one-side consent.
That was you very much laughing, to be honest. But yeah, if your team's bottom of the table,
yeah,
and not looking like there's any way for them to be getting up at this moment in time, and to be losing so convincingly, especially when it's away from home, because everyone that's been to a football game knows like the away fans are like the ultras.
Yes,
they're the official ultras.
They are the ones, yeah.
So they're seeing their team get destroyed every other week.
Every couple of weeks, yeah.
It's very, very tough to just keep the faith in the manager, regardless of whomever it is. But when it's someone like Wayne Rooney, everyone knows who they are anyway, and all the stuff that they've done in their career. I think that's always going to be a tough position to be in. I'm sure the club didn't want to sack him, but actually, let me say, this was mutual consent. So maybe Wayne thought he can't take his team any further.
I miss my family.
He's done something. He's done a very noble thing, and he stepped aside because he knows that the future for Plymouth is possibly better without him. Yeah, that's a good guy.
Yeah,
I'll be very interested to see where he goes next.
If he does go anywhere.
I've heard that he's very much big in terms of deciding to stay in football because that's a big part of his
identity.
identity.
I know, and I can understand that. I think
maybe assistant coach next.
Maybe.
So Willian leaves Olympiacos after just 11 games, Jules.
11 games. He arrived in September, Neds. He's 36 years old now, Willian.
Good age. Good age.
And just now, it's just not happening. It didn't happen for him at Olympiacos. I don't think if he thought he could still play at that kind of level, but clearly they didn't think so.
Is it a location thing or is it a play thing?
No, I think it sounded like a play thing, really. And I won't lie, I haven't watched much of Olympiacos outside of in Europe, but it wasn't good. And I like Willian a lot, but maybe there's a time where you leave the football before the football leaves you.
Oh, that's nonsense, man.
Is it?
That's
36?
To be fair, let me take that back. It's not nonsense. I just think at times we struggle in knowing whether someone's out of form or whether they've lost it altogether.
True.
And I think as you get older, if you fall out of form, people are very quick to want to write you off.
Yeah.
Case in point, obviously this is like the creme de la creme. But 9 months ago, Salah looked like he was on the way out.
I know, but it was not William level.
Yeah, but Willian, relatively speaking, will still have an impact for Fulham, was it not, last year?
And that's true. Yeah,
so in 2024, how can you go from being great to all of a sudden you can't play football anymore?
It's not so much that. Oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it was not the right context for him.
I
think he wants to go back to Brazil.
This is why some of your best takes happen on this show, because you're comfortable at this desk.
And this didn't happen to you, but we also know a lot of players who thought they could still play in that kind of age. Listen, 35, 36, who could not play anymore.
That's valid, but it's 36.
Yeah.
It's not that old.
No, okay.
It's not that old.
Because you said that because it's your age.
Yeah.
But
it's not that old.
No, it's not that old. I agree.
Stop it. It's not that old.